Dune.
It's a big one. It's a big one of the big books that everyone loves. Sci-fi.
Yeah, there was a lot of hype with this one.
Yeah, definitely.
So I gave it an 8 out of 10. I don't think it's perfect, but the first third is boring. I kind of knew that going in, and I was just like, I'll just get through this. I'll pay attention, kind of identify who the characters are, and then it's not a rocketing pace.
Pretty good though. Pretty good
but
pace.
A lot of stuff is happening.
Yeah.
So they go to Arrakis.
Yeah.
They fuck around for a bit.
Boring shit happens for ages.
There's a dinner and all this other stuff and
business meeting at a fucking million miles away.
Yeah, and then the dad's killed. He's a bit of a bumbling idiot.
And there's also a weird prophecy about
the
main guy.
That's right. Is that right at the beginning?
Yeah, it's right at the beginning.
With
yeah.
The hand and
the Harkonnens. Yeah. Or whatever. Yeah.
I do enjoy kind of almost the Game of Thrones-esque kind of factions going on. I guess it's simple where there's only 2 major ones, but
yeah, but the
2 factions, then there's the Emperor and all that. Yeah, Dad dies, shit happens, a lot of people die, and then
the bad guys take over again.
Yeah, they take control of the planet, and Paul and his mum are
in the
desert.
they
were supposed to be killed. They escape and go into the desert, form a war cult. A couple years go by, they come back because the new people were just shit at leading the country or planet.
And then overthrow again.
Yeah. It's pretty simple.
Pretty simple. But to be honest, I'm gonna sound like I fucking hate sci-fi, but I want to give this a 6.5.
Wow. Okay.
The reason being is that first third of the thing. I know so much of it was expositional, so we learnt about the still suits, we learnt about moisture and all the bullshit, blah blah blah. But you don't even open your mouth in the desert because you'll lose moisture that way. Right, there's so much boring shit, and then the dad is a bumbling fool, but there's so much politics and air put around his station. We learned about the treachery. I feel that's what was dumb as well. He
they knew it was a trap going in.
Yeah, they knew it was a trap going in, but the other thing is the person who was supposed to not have been bought, there's this warrior who could never have been bought, but he got bought anyway, Gurkus or something like that, some dumb name. He's the one who teaches Paul how to use a sword.
Right, yeah.
And the laser belt or something.
Yeah.
It would be more impactful if you just set this guy up as being an almost older brother figure. Don't tell the reader that he's fucking them over. And then we find out that he fucks them over right at the end, right when it happens. You're basically telling the reader, we're gonna kill Ned Stark.
Right.
Instead of being oh shit, I really like this guy, and now he's killed the dad or whatever. They had an opportunity to set the dad up as a
wasn't it the doctor?
Oh, could have been.
Didn't he betray them?
Oh, might have been
Dr. Yue or whatever.
Oh, maybe. I thought it was the warrior guy, the laser belt or whatever.
Are you thinking of the guy that near the end, after all this shit had happened, he had formed a mercenary band and all that? Or was it someone else?
I thought it was someone else.
Okay. The names are hard to remember.
And it was so the first third of it was boring as shit. Yeah. So boring. Oh yes, go and look at the sand mine and the spice. We looked at the sand mine and the spice, and little did I know that there was a little sand devil in the sand, and he was moving around in the sand, but it was just a sand devil. Who cares about it? The part that actually really got me was midway through when the ship crashes and they use the thumpers. They use the thumpers to move the worms away, and then they join up with the other people who are surviving in the desert, and they have a sword fight or some shit. Right. And then they find their bag and they're this is a year's worth of water, and they freak out. All of that was to start something good. Why do you need 200 odd pages worth of blah blah to set it up?
I don't know. I mean, it's quite an old book. Not that's an excuse, because there's certainly older books that don't do that. But I think Frank was just immersed in his world, and I believe he's like an ecologist. So like maybe that played into it, where he wanted to like sort of really create this world.
Could have, yeah.
I did enjoy some of the finer details, like one of the Freeman, who was like the former leader or something.
Oh yeah.
And was it like him or his grandfather's goal of like slowly terraforming the planet by like planting these little things that like
get
trap condensation in them, and then it like trickles down, and then
because that was actually you're right about that. Because that was the Freeman's plan, and they wanted
just slowly over time and consistent.
But it's because space travel relies on, and everything else relies on the spice. Like the planet never gets terraformed because of they're basically raping this planet.
Yeah. I guess that could be kind of like aligns with what we do as a species here in some form, you know?
That's the good thing about like sci-fi. I think that those questions need to be raised, and I think that they get raised in a manner where people can sort of try and figure out how and why and what like would happen if those things were put in place. Like, yeah.
I suppose the one negative thing I was like, oh, that's a bit weird, is when Paul's son is just like off camera murdered or killed in an airstrike. I was just like, oh, okay, alright. It was just like, what the fuck? That's really weird, and it doesn't really, I guess it's has an effect on him, but not like didn't seem super upset about it. And I was like, so what was the actual purpose of that?
I don't know. I don't know what some of the purpose was for some of that stuff. Like there was laser guns in it, but they chose not to use them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I don't really get a lot of it. Like some of it seemed really strange. Like I think that's probably because of its age, and it wanted to be like apart from other things.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I enjoyed a lot of it. There's a bit of meandering in the beginning, but yeah. Oh, the Harkonnen bad guy. I think that was done really well. The fat guy that has like this thing to hold his guts up.
Oh yeah.
It's like a levitation thing for his belly or whatever.
Yeah.
So and he's like, I mean, it was maybe done in a bit poor taste, but like for today's standards. But like how he was like gay or whatever, and he was like, didn't he kind of drug some guy or something? And then
like have his way with him or whatever,
or threaten it or something.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think there's like you said, like it probably worked at the time. Like that was would have been a big scandalous thing, but because like, you know, no one cares about any of that anymore. Like I think that like I think just him being gluttonous and like sexually depraved would have been fine.
Yeah. And
like, yeah, I don't know. As a very good enemy, it's a good enemy to describe and to have. I think like that fat earl who has all the power, or that fat like businessman. Like you're taking a sort of a verbal description, and you're really giving it a physical quality when you make it like that. Like not only is he fat and stuck with cash and like, you know, a fat cat per se, like he's got a lot of power and everything else, but he's got so much power that his body can't handle it. Like it's like he's become fat. He needs a gravitational thing for him to walk around and everything else. Yeah.
Would you read the next book?
No. No. Do you want to read it?
Oh, we don't have to do it for this, but I will. I'll definitely read it, because I'm interested to see how this kind of holy war plays out that's been prophesized, where
I don't know,
Paul's like, you know, his visions of it, like it's like this big galactic war going on or something.
The other thing about that is, like, do you know what the, like, stupid religion is? Like, the religion is, like, some weird, like, textbook that doesn't mean anything. It's like a computer textbook or something.
Yeah.
Because, like, everything on Earth or whatever was erased or something at the time.
Yeah.
And, like, everything that was left was, like, this textbook to how to fucking fix a Pepsi machine or something like that. And that's what the Bible is.
What?
Yeah, something weird, something dumb like that. That's what I remember anyway.
Okay.
Maybe it isn't. I don't know. But I thought it was. And I was like, I don't care about that. What? Yeah, so, I don't know. 6.5, whatever. 7.5.
Maybe it's for the best, because I have heard that this is, like, the best of the series.
Oh, good. Good one. No, but, like you said, there's a lot of hype to it. There's a lot of stuff to it. And, like, growing up as a kid, like, they had plans for this movie for a long, long time. And they actually had this artist, I think his name was Mobius, and I think there's a few other, like, really prominent French, like, comic book artists, and they're really, really good at their stuff. They put together this big book of ideas for all the different, like, characters and everything else, and it became like this fucking holy grail of sci-fi. And I know that the guy who did Star Wars even took stuff from it to, like, put into Star Wars. So the visual element would have been really interesting to see, like, movie wise. But
I mean, there movies. There's a movie of Dune coming out this year.
Yeah,
I think it's actually the first half.
Is it the first half? Oh, fucking boring.
But I imagine they'll change up a few things.
Oh,
like, I would say Jason Momoa's character would probably have more prominence than he did in forget the guy's name, but he was like his sword master or whatever. Oh no, he was the guy who spent time with the Fremen. And then came back, and he was like had some insight, and he was a good kind of proxy in between the two factions and the earlier bits.
Don't use your fingernails, you'll lose water.
I don't know. I like that detail, but there was a bit too much of it, I suppose. And yeah, definitely could have done with a bit more action or something more interesting in the beginning.
What about the guys who ate the spice? They were just, like, whacked out druggos, eh? Like, they didn't really have much of like, people heralded them as, like, these, like, shamanic types, but they were just whacked out druggies. So, from what I got the feeling of, like, they didn't really have very much insight at all. But there was like, oh no, we can't get rid of him. He's a whacked out druggie who can tell us things. like I just didn't really feel like there was much, like, wisdom to what any of them were saying. One of them was like, oh, we'll kill the so and so, and then the guys immediately, no, we can't do that. What's wrong with you? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so that's that one.
Yeah.